Hello, and welcome to the CBS Nature of Life Becoming a Competitive Pre-Health Applicant module. My name is Luke Fueling Porter, and I am a career coach in the College of Biological Sciences. I work primarily with students who are interested in going into a career in the health professions. This includes careers such as medicine, pharmacy, and dentistry, as well as careers such as physical therapy, optometry, occupational therapy, and any other career that relates to the health professions. I also work with students who know they are interested in the health professions, but are not sure what health profession they want to go into. I've provided you with contact information on this page so you can learn how to follow up with me or schedule a pre-health career coaching appointment. Before we get started, I wanted to share with you the CBS Student Services mission statement and connect how this workshop is related to our mission. So I'll give you a few moments to read over this. By building your knowledge on the health professional school application process, as well as what goes into a competitive application, I hope to help you reach your professional goals of successfully applying to health professional school or entering a career in the health professions. I also wanted to take a moment to share a little bit about myself because it can be nice to know a little bit more about the individual who is talking to you. I've included photos of my immediate family, which includes my spouse, as well as my cat, Guadalupe. Additionally, I've also shared some photos of my hobbies that help me unwind outside of work. I love to collect comic books and have been an avid reader of comics since the early 1990s. Back in the 1990s, I used to skateboard a lot, and this is an activity that I've picked up again in the last few years. I'm not very good, but at least I can ollie off the ground. Growing up, I loved to play video games, and my favorite console was the Super Nintendo. Fortunately, Nintendo decided to re-release this, so I luckily picked up a Super Nintendo Classic a few months ago. Finally, I have a picture of me performing in my punk rock band in high school. I still love to go to local shows in the Twin Cities area, but unfortunately I don't perform anymore. The application to health professional school and the timeline for preparing can often feel massive and complicated. However, this workshop is designed to give you an introduction to some of the basics so that you can begin to think about how you might become a competitive applicant. Don't stress yourself out after this workshop, as there is no set timeline to apply and go to health professional school. Comparing yourself to others in this process is never a great idea, as applying to health professional school is a very individual process for every candidate. Furthermore, this workshop is designed to help you think about beginning to create your own timeline. Don't feel like you have to have everything figured out at the end of this workshop. We hope this workshop allows you to reflect on your journey so far and begin to make plans for your future so you can soar into your future pre-health goals. Before we jump right into the content related to applying to health professional school, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that this workshop has been created with the intention that you begin thinking about competencies of a competitive applicant. The Association of American Medical College created a list of competencies that can be found at the link provided on this page. This workshop is specifically designed to touch on the competencies of capacity for improvement and written communication. Capacity for improvement is defined as setting goals for continuous improvement and for learning new concepts and skills, engaging in reflective practice for improvement, soliciting and responding appropriately to feedback. Written communication is defined as effectively conveying information to others using written words and sentences. So in this workshop today, you'll do a little bit of writing. Medical schools all got together and created a list of competencies they want to see in competitive applicants and stated, successful medical school applicants are able to demonstrate skills, knowledge, and abilities in these areas. Often, instead of thinking of the number of hours gained in a specific experience such as research, community volunteering, or clinical exposure, it's often better to assess oneself based on how an individual has met different competencies through their experiences. Additionally, on this page, I have listed acronyms for other national health associations for health professions outside of medicine. If you are interested in another health profession, I highly encourage you to visit the website of the national association related to your health profession. All of these national associations have lists of competencies that are important for their health profession. Additionally, you'll find very detailed information on how you apply to your health professional school of interest on this website. So to really kick things off, I'd like you to take some time to write down why you are interested in going into the health professions. Furthermore, if you are specifically interested in a health profession like dentistry, write down an answer to the question, why do you want to be a dentist? I'd like you to pause this video to ensure that you can give yourself at least 1 minute to draft out a written response to this question. Again, please pause the video momentarily to take time to write an answer to this question. Welcome back, and thanks for participating and taking time to write out an answer. This is one of the most common questions you will have to answer throughout your journey to health professional school and during the application process. This is the primary question you will have to answer in a personal statement. This is also the question you will have to answer when you're in an interview for health professional school. Did your answer include something along the lines of, I want to help people, or I like science? You may be nodding your head yes, and these are good beginning reasons for beginning to explore an interest in the health professions. However, when you are actually applying to health professional school, you will want to develop an answer that reflects on your undergraduate experiences and exposure to health professions to prove that entering the health professions is the best fit for you versus other possible careers. While your experiences may be similar to other applicants, your answer will be individually unique. Additionally, health professional schools will want to know why one specific role, such as a nurse, physician assistant, or dentist, is the right health career for you versus other health careers. Don't feel stressed out if you don't have a polished answer to this question yet, but I encourage you to begin to reflect on how your experience as an undergrad contribute to this answer. In thinking about the importance of why, I like to use this analogy about the company Apple. If individuals focus solely on what Apple does, they make computers. However, they are not the only company that makes computers. Similarly, if an individual focuses on how Apple does this by creating easy-to-use, beautiful products in the technology industry, this isn't too unique either. Their competitors would likely say they do this as well. However, if an individual focuses on the why, they truly begin to understand Apple because Apple begins their process with the why, changing the status quo and doing things differently, such as when they created the iPhone or the iPod, which were entirely new ideas other companies hadn't thought of. In comparison to applying to health professional school, the what is getting accepted into health professional school. The how is by filling out a competitive application that builds off of a strong why. An applicant who has a strong answer to the question, why do you want to go to health professional school, will engage in meaningful activities and reflect on these activities in a way that will build a competitive application that will lead to admission to a health professional school. In beginning to further develop your answer of why, it is important to reflect on all of your experiences during your undergraduate education. To develop competencies and contribute to your why, we encourage you to use this model as a means of reflection. What will you engage in that is meaningful to you, as you do not have infinite time to do everything during undergrad? So what? What was the purpose of an activity or experience you engaged in, and how did it help you develop a competency, grow, persevere, or change? Now what? Based on this experience, what will be your next action step? If you joined a club based on your interest and then developed skills by helping organize events, will you then go into a leadership role in the organization or take those skills to another experience or activity as a changed person? Reflecting on all of your experience is important to beginning to develop a competitive application. We highly recommend you keep a journal to keep track of all your experiences and the values and skills you gained from those experiences, because when you apply to health professional school, you'll have to write a personal statement reflecting on your journey, and the application will actually require you to write short paragraphs describing each of your experiences and how they developed your competencies and prepared you for health professional school. If you actively reflect on your experiences, engage in activities that are meaningful to you, and build a strong answer to the question, why do you want to go to health professional school, you will be able to create a 3D application when you apply to health professional school. A checklist application is an individual who views the entire application like boxes to check off. They likely view success in the application as doing X amount of hours of service, volunteering, or working in a clinical environment. I'm sure you can imagine an individual who is in 10 different clubs with minimal contributions to each. Furthermore, this individual does most of their activities because they feel like they're supposed to versus actually wanting to do these things. While this applicant may look great in terms of hours devoted to activities or number of activities, their application is not always very compelling. And an interview of this candidate by a health professional school may demonstrate that the candidate is not very passionate about their experiences. On the other hand, A 3D applicant engages in activities that are personally meaningful and engaging to them versus doing an activity because they're supposed to. I know of a candidate admitted to the University of Minnesota Medical School who loved to play hockey. This was their main passion. They decided to get involved in coaching floor hockey for the Special Olympics. So this individual was able to take an interest and also give back to the community working with individuals with disabilities. This is a unique experience, and you are definitely not required to have a super unique experience to be competitive for health professional school. But I encourage you to think about how you might pursue your own hobbies and passions and engage in activities that are meaningful to you instead of doing things because you believe you're supposed to do them to become competitive for a health professional school. It'll be much easier to write a personal statement or essays for health professional school when you actually feel invested in your undergraduate experiences. When health professional schools are assessing a candidate, they will look at them with a holistic review in which they look at the whole person. The AAMC or AAMC put together this diagram to explain how they assess candidates equally in different realms. On this diagram, they assess a candidate based on metrics, attributes, and experiences equally. Metrics include things like test score, GPA, and grade trend. Attributes include things like race, gender, socioeconomic status, sexuality, and lived experience. Each candidate will have their own unique lived experience and attributes. Experiences are all of the different activities that an individual may choose to pursue prior to their application to health professional school. It is important to understand that health professional schools place equal weight on experiences, attributes, and metrics. Sometimes students will ask me what score on the MCAT they need to get accepted to medical school. But that's a question that's not easily answered because there are so many other aspects in the holistic review process. Students should reflect on how they will convey themselves to health professional schools in these different realms to demonstrate what they will individually offer to the health profession they're intending to enter. I know that was a lot of information on experiences and reflections, holistic review, competencies, and developing an answer to the question of why do you want to go to health professional school. At this point in the presentation, we are going to transition into talking more about the specifics of applying to health professional school. First of all, we are going to talk about what the timeline for applying to health professional school looks like. There is no one set timeline for when someone should apply, and there is no way to be behind your peers when applying to health professional school. With that being said, there is a specific application cycle for each health professional school in which candidates must complete a certain phases of their application. Here's an example of a visual timeline from healthgradeadvantage.com for the application cycle for medical school. While this example is for medical school, the majority of applications for health professional school will be a similar timeline. You will want to make sure that you review the application timeline information from the National Health Association's website for your health profession of interest. This timeline assumes that a candidate wants to start health professional school in the fall of 2019. Health professional schools start their new admitted classes in the fall, typically sometime in mid-August to early September. In order to start in fall of 2019, a candidate will actually apply to health professional school a little over a year in advance of that time. In this timeline, a student would access the AMCAS, or American Medical College Application Service, also known as the primary application, on May 1st of 2018. A student would fill out this application and can submit it on June 1st. To be competitive, we encourage students to submit their primary application between June and July for AMCAS. To submit the AMCAS, a student must pay $170 and then $39 for each school they apply to. The AMCAS application is the exact same application to every medical school. The AMCAS application includes a student's official transcript, MCAT score, letters of recommendation, description of experiences, and personal statement. After a student hits submit, it takes 2 to 6 weeks for the application to be processed before medical schools can receive it. Medical schools will begin to get access to applications on July 1st. Prior to this, they cannot access any applications of students who have applied to their school. After they get access to applications, if they decide to move forward with a candidate, they will send them a secondary, also known as a supplemental application, which are basically additional essays unique to each school. A student should complete these within 2 weeks of receiving to demonstrate active interest in the medical school. To submit these, Students may have to pay anywhere from $0 to $200 per school, depending on the school's procedures. After a school receives the secondary application from a candidate, they will then decide if they want to invite the candidate to their campus for an interview. Interview dates can start as early as the end of August or beginning of September and can go through the following April until all spots are filled in a medical school's incoming class. Students that apply early in the cycle, in June and July, tend to have greater success in this process. If a traditional undergraduate student was not planning on a gap year undergrad, they would be submitting their primary application in June or July after their junior year. If they were planning on taking one gap year, they would be applying at the end of their senior year. It should be noted that the primary application is backwards looking, so applicants can only include information in their application that has already taken place. Therefore, one gap year would mean that individuals get to include experiences from their senior year in their application. If an applicant wanted to gain more experiences during a gap year to include in their application, they would likely be taking 2 gap years or more. Another thing to keep in mind is that most entrance exams, such as the MCAT, take about a month to get official results. So candidates will want to plan these strategically to ensure an application is not waiting on a score before it can be submitted and reviewed by a health professional school. Again, this timeline is specific to medical school. Some application cycles, such as pharmacy or public health, are a little later than this. It is important to know the application timeline for your health profession of interest. Furthermore, if you want to see what these application systems look like prior to getting ready to apply, it is free to make an account and play around in the system. If you are interested in a health career aside from medicine, here's a list of different websites you can visit for each health profession to learn more about the application timeline, an application system and process to better understand for your future application. Here are some things to consider when developing your timeline. Are you going to take a gap year? Applications open in late spring or early summer a year prior to when you want to start. At this point, I would encourage you to pause the video and begin to draft out what your timeline could look like for health professional school. I repeat, please pause the video and draft out your own timeline. Welcome back. We're now going to jump into talking more about the specific information about different health professional schools and resources to help you prepare. One great resource to learn more about each individual health profession and steps for applying to a health profession is the Pre-Health Student Resource Center's Health Program Action Plans. If you visit the link in this slide, you will find links to action plans you can fill out to help you keep track of all of your experiences and metrics. And you can also find helpful links to resources related to your specific health profession of interest in these action plans. For example, if you click the Dentistry Action Plan, you'll find links to information about the dental school application and DAT, also known as the Dental Admissions Test. Additionally, you'll also find a lot of other helpful information under the Build Your Student Portfolio tab on this website, such as a list of hospitals in the Twin Cities, as well as lists of organizations in the Twin Cities that provide paid and volunteer health-related opportunities. Now let's jump into specific components of the application. As you've probably guessed, having a strong GPA is important for health professional school. Schools will assess GPA on a variety of factors. They will look at cumulative GPA, they will look at science GPA, and this will be calculated differently depending on the health profession. For medical school, a science GPA is known as BCPM, which includes coursework in biology, chemistry, physics, and math. Regardless of health profession of interest, the majority of your CBS coursework will go into your science GPA. Some health professions do not include math in the science GPA. Additionally, health professional schools will also look at grade trend. If you had a rough start your first semester of college, health professional schools will notice if your grades improved over time. Health professional schools like to see a positive trend in grades over the course of college. Some institutions may even focus primarily on the last 60 credits of a student for cumulative GPA versus the entire 120 credits. This is more common for pharmacy schools. Additionally, schools will also pay attention to the rigor of your courses. A strong GPA in a semester of 4,000 level courses demonstrates academic ability better than a strong GPA in a semester of primarily 1,000 level courses. For students interested in medical school, you can Google search AAMC Table 23, and you will find a chart that shows the percentage of medical school applicants that were accepted to medical school based on GPA and MCAT range. It can be hard to know what a strong GPA is for different schools. For medical school bound students, I recommend using the site MSAR, which you can use for free in the Pre-Health Student Resource Center. This site will allow you to look at and see what the mean GPA is for different students admitted to each medical school. You'll also be able to look at facts and data about each medical school. For PA school, a similar website can be found by clicking the link on this page. Other health professions have similar lists of schools, and you can find these lists or search engines on the National Association website for your health profession of interest. We stress the importance of doing well in academics, but you also need to make sure that you take the right prerequisite courses to be accepted to health professional school. The challenging thing about prerequisites is that every single school may have slightly different prerequisites. Therefore, it's important to think about what schools you might want to go to and then individually review each program's prerequisites to ensure that you have planned out when you will complete prerequisites. Also, some schools will accept AP or an international credit and others will not. Every school has their own individual policy. Schools like the University of Minnesota Medical School lists out recommended courses that may be helpful but are not mandatory in addition to their mandatory required prerequisites. Also of note, most of the time, prerequisites need to be completed by the time you start a program, not necessarily by the time you apply. It is often acceptable to have some prerequisites still planned or in progress when you're applying to health professional school. The nice thing about being a student in CBS is that your required science coursework will fulfill the majority of health programs' prerequisites. On the next few slides, we'll take a look at the prerequisite courses for the University of Minnesota Health Professional Schools. Here are the University of Minnesota Medical Schools prerequisites. As you can see, a CBS degree will fulfill all of these prerequisites except the last prerequisite. For this prerequisite, you will need to take one 3,000 level or higher writing intensive class in the humanities, which means it could be a history, literature, sociology, or psychology course, or a variety of other different courses. There are lots of options. It basically just can't be a core science course. Here are the prerequisites for the College of Pharmacy. Starred courses are optional if you complete your undergraduate degree before starting the program. While you do not have to complete an undergraduate degree to be accepted to the College of Pharmacy, you will be more competitive if you do. Here are the prerequisites for the U of M Dental School. Here are the prerequisites for the U of M Vet School. Similar to academics, it is important to do well in entrance exams for health professional school. As indicated earlier, it typically takes about a month to get results, so it is important to plan to take these at an appropriate time. Fortunately, CBS coursework often aligns with the courses covered on entrance exams. Every student's plan for studying will differ. It is always recommended to get official exam prep materials from the exam creators and to review all information housed on the official exam sites. Other students may decide to purchase a course or buy materials from an organization like Kaplan or the Princeton Review. It is important to review what will work best for you and is within your budget. A CBS pre-health career coach is happy to chat with you more about preparation plans. Most entrance exams such as the MCAT, DAT, PCAT, and OAT will align with content covered in CBS coursework. However, the GRE utilized for applications to PT, OT, VET, and PA school does not typically cover content covered in CBS coursework. Fortunately, this test does not typically require as much preparation as some of the other exams, but it is important to still study. Just to give an idea of what coursework is covered on the MCAT, here are the courses that will prepare students for the MCAT. To ensure all course content has been learned, students should complete Foundations of Biology 1 and 2, Physics 1 and 2, General Chemistry 1 and 2, and Organic Chemistry 1 and 2, or Chemistry for the Life Sciences, Biochemistry, Sociology, and Psychology. Of all the standardized tests, the MCAT covers the most amount of content. Be sure to review which standardized test you need to take and what's covered on it. Here are the courses that will be covered on the PCAT. Here are the courses that will be covered on the DAT. Biochemistry and statistics are not covered in huge depth, but they may be helpful. The DAT is unique because it has a perceptual ability portion of the exam that relates to understanding geometric shapes and patterns. Often this section is to ensure that dentists will be effective working in a mouth due to spatial orientation. Another important component of the application to health professional school is getting letters of recommendation. On some health professional school websites, you may see language about a letter committee or a letter packet, but the University of Minnesota does not offer any of these services, and health professional schools will likely know this. Therefore, you will be in charge of asking individuals to write letters for you. Additionally, you should never see letters that are written for you, as letter writers will submit them directly to the application system such as AMCAS. If you are applying to a system that asks if you want to waive your rights to read letters, you will want to make sure that you do this. In terms of who to ask, it's important to have at least one science professor from a course you've taken, even if a school does not specify this as a requirement. So you'll want to think about who you might get to a letter from a professor by the end of your So you'll want to think about how you might get a letter from a professor by the end of your undergrad. Other great letter writers may include a PI of your lab, a job supervisor, a volunteer coordinator, or a medical professional that you have interacted with extensively. It is important to ask individuals who know you well and can comment on your development of competencies. To get more information on letters of recommendation, you can review the links on this slide. Over the next few slides, we'll talk about different experiences that can help you develop competencies to become competitive for health professional school. While not all of these experiences are required, many are common experiences pre-health students engage in to become more competitive. As you've probably learned through your undergraduate experience so far, research is a highly valuable experience. Many health professional schools greatly value when students have completed research. For example, looking at last year's application data, over 86% of students admitted to the University of Minnesota Medical School had completed some type of research. However, if you decide that you are not interested in research, that's fine. Many health professional schools are more patient care focused than research focused. If you do decide you want to pursue research opportunities, CBS provides a lot of resources to help you find research opportunities. z.umn.edu/CBS Research provides a roadmap to get started in research on campus. If you are not sure if you are interested in research in a wet lab on campus, there are also a variety of other types of research opportunities available in the Twin Cities. Some students do clinical research in a hospital environment and gather and analyze patient data. Other students will do research in the social sciences or other fields on campus. Health professional schools don't necessarily favor one research type over another. They value the skills that you take away from your experience. Health professional schools value when students give back to the community or get involved in a cause that is important to them. Often this is commonly accomplished by volunteering, but schools will also take into account paid experiences that develop competencies and demonstrate commitment to the community and giving back for students who may be unable to volunteer based on financial constraints or time constraints. For example, students might work as a CNA, EMT, or PCA in a clinical role, have a part-time job at a nonprofit or community organization. Volunteering in a clinical environment can be a great way to gain clinical exposure. However, students should not be expecting to do hands-on related care because most patient care related roles require a certification and extensive training. Sometimes students will go on medical mission trips where they do get to participate in these activities, and CBS discourages this because students should not be participating in clinical activities they are not qualified to do in the United States. Students interested in doing volunteer work abroad are encouraged to meet with the Learning Abroad Center. Many domestic clinical experiences will allow volunteers to interact with patients and other healthcare providers, although not necessarily providing direct patient care. As stated earlier, non-health or non-clinical related opportunities can be just as valuable if a student demonstrates a passion or interest and is demonstrating empathy through their engagement. To find opportunities to get involved with, the Center for Community Engaged Learning is a great department on campus to connect with. They will match students with nonprofits in the Twin Cities based on their expressed interests. Additionally, the Pre-Health Student Resource Center's website has a variety of great links to organizations and opportunities in the Twin Cities. On this slide are a few other links to valuable resources. Special note is given to PA schools, as many require 500 plus hours of patient care. Augsburg, the closest PA school, recommends 2,000 or more hours of patient care related experience, and this can be obtained by becoming a CNA, an EMT, PCA, or other certified role that involves caring for patients. Regardless of which health profession you plan to go into, it is important to gain some exposure to the field by shadowing. Shadowing can be a great way to see a different clinical environments and to get to see what a job is actually like for health professionals. Furthermore, shadowing will confirm if an applicant can actually see themselves doing the job they're observing. Additionally, if a student has not done shadowing, it's hard for health professional schools to know if an applicant really knows what they are getting into. Some programs, like the University of Minnesota Dental School, an occupational therapy program, require a certain number of observation hours. If you are looking for tips on how to find shadowing opportunities, visit z.umn.edu/cbsprehealth and go to the networking section of that page. Shadowing can often be found by reaching out to your own healthcare providers or connections, or even Google searching facilities or providers in the area. Some hospital volunteer coordinators might be able to indicate if their hospital has a formal shadowing program. Do expect that you'll have to ask multiple individuals before someone allows you to observe. Sometimes it can be hard to find shadowing opportunities. If you are struggling to find shadowing opportunities, feel free to meet with a CBS pre-health career coach for support. Many students who want to go into the medical field as a physician assistant, nurse practitioner, or physician may gain shadowing hours by becoming a medical scribe, which allows an individual to get paid to take notes for a healthcare provider. This can be a great opportunity for students looking to get paid and gain exposure to what working on a healthcare team is like. There are many ways to explore the health professions or get involved on campus through a variety of leadership opportunities. You may be part of a student group, and this can be a great way to explore a health profession, make friends, or take on a leadership role, or pursue a hobby or interest. Don't feel like your hobby or interest if you get involved in a club has to directly relate to the health professions. If you'd like to see a list of available student organizations, visit sua.umn.edu. Additionally, you may be a student athlete that devotes a lot of your time to your sport, and this can be a great leadership opportunity as well. Furthermore, working in a part-time job or a campus job can also be a great way to develop competencies that will help prepare you for the health professions. Now that we've reviewed a variety of different health experiences, let's see how this might relate to a school's mission statement. This is Howard University College of Medicine's mission statement. I want you to read through this mission statement and then identify 3 types of experiences Howard University might value in their applicants. Take a moment to pause this video to do this activity. Once again, pause this video and see if you can identify 3 types of experiences Howard University might value in its applicants. Welcome back. When I read through this mission statement, teaching and research activities jumps out at me in the last sentence of the first paragraph. So a student who has been involved in research or worked as a TA or tutor might align well with the school's mission. Furthermore, this program indicates it wants to prepare physicians to serve the underserved. Applicants who have been involved in activities that involve giving back to the community would likely be able to align their experiences with the school's mission as well. When students are looking at a variety of different health professional schools, it is important to see where a student might be a best fit based on experiences and individual attributes. Going back to the beginning of our workshop, you will have to write a personal statement that answers why you want to go into the health professions. Rather than this just being about you liking science and wanting to help people, your personal statement should be a unique story that reflects on your experiences through undergrad to contribute to your answer of why. As you get closer to writing this document, CBS is happy to help you with this and also provide you with other resources to support the writing process. Aside from writing a personal statement, you will have to describe each of your different experiences you participated in during your undergrad on your application. You can expect to write about a paragraph for each of these, so it is important to be able to highlight your responsibilities, development of competencies, and growth in your roles. As indicated earlier, it is a good idea to keep a journal of your experiences. Also of note, you'll be expected to put how many hours you have participated in each activity, so it's important to track this type of information. I know this is definitely a lot of information, but CBS is here to help you along the way. CBS offers specialized support through its career coaching. You can meet with a pre-health career coach for one-on-one coaching for anything health-related, personal state reviews, resume cover letter reviews, or health careers exploration and mock interviews as you're getting closer to needing to interview for health professional school. Also pay attention to the bio blog each week because pre-health events are advertised there. If you want to schedule an appointment with a pre-health career coach, you can visit cbsss.appointments.umn.edu. You can also find more information and a variety of resources at z.umn.edu/CBS prehealth. At this point in the workshop, take a look at your timeline you drafted up. Based on the information just discussed, has anything changed in your timeline? Is there a specific opportunity you want to explore more about or tentatively plan to get involved in? Has anything changed after today? What areas of your timeline are you most excited about or most nervous about? Finally, what is one action step you're going to take as a result of this workshop? Before we wrap up today, here are a few takeaways you can come back to. How are you going to answer the question, why do you want to be a blank? So that could be a dentist or a physician. Take time to reflect on your experiences and record information about them in a way that works for you, because you'll have to write about them in the application. Think about what competencies you might want to develop through the different experiences you engage in, because this is how you'll demonstrate you are a 3D applicant. This presentation was provided by Luke Fueling Porter. Whether you decide to continue into the health professions or change plans to something else, the CBS Career Team provides services that can support you wherever you are in your career journey. CBS offers career planning, pre-health, and graduate school appointments with the CBS Career Team. You can make an appointment to discuss exploring your interests and how they connect to different career paths, how to find an internship or research experience, and how to prepare for health professional school or graduate school, and how to navigate the job search. We also offer resume reviews, personal statement reviews, practice interviews, workshops, and company site visits. Make an appointment online at the link on the screen or call the main line. It is never too early to get a jump start on planning your next steps.